Dailies are dailies, just kind of get you leveling up. But this one is going to really set you back or forward, however you look at it, okay? Because what a week in news. And if you're not catching up on all the news, MMO-wise, RPG-wise, you must go see Coffee and RPGs on the YouTube channel that Solomon SK has, because that's the way you get good information and stuff about games, as well as he's doing deep diving into BDO, a game I've not really tried as much as I should, but, there it is.
Thanks.
Only he would spend all that effort in ESO.
One game at a time.
All right, so we're going to be a little careful because these dailies are quite treacherous this week. The game that you've seen us talk about for many weeks, and we talked about doing, beta and launch and a party and all that stuff. New World has been delayed. According to the website, according to Amazon.com, they show that now it's launching May 25th, 2021. That is right. 1 year from the original commitment, not the second one of August, but the original one. Okay. So, and beta also has been delayed on that too. Now, if you happen to do alpha and if you happen to pre-order it, you will be allowed to get into the game on August 25th, the original release date, to play it like a beta. And I don't know how long they're going to do that, but you can play it. So there's an upswing of things or upside of things you want to do it, but they are officially not launching it. We'll have some comments about that later on, because about the whole thing. Next up, we have WoW Shadowlands. WoW had a July 8th video. Kind of, if you happen to watch our show the other day with myself, Sir Jazil, and Got Fuzz, we chatted about all the stuff coming out of that. I was underwhelmed by the video personally. Okay, but guess what? Beta starts next week, and the release of this will be in the fall of 2020. If you go right now to battle.net, it says September 31st, 2020. So yeah, there's that. Now, Elder Scrolls Online, if you haven't watched the Coffee RPG, has announced some DLCs coming out. Stonethorne. Well, again, we'll chat about these in a minute. Okay, more deep diving in. And then and the biggest thing they mentioned I saw in the information panel was 2-person mounts. And then following Darkstorm DLC later this year. Now, some other miscellaneous stuff. Again, we're going to deep diving this in a minute, okay? Other stuff, because we're going to go talk about the whole New World delay, Shadowlands, and Elder Scrolls. Chronicles of Illyria, which basically closed shop, even though they say they're still developing it. The lawsuit, the class action lawsuit, has found a lawyer willing to take 35% of the winnings. So that's moving forward, even though personally for me, my commentary is that I did the Kickstarter and I knew the flaws and the risk of Kickstarter. So I don't think they have any lawsuit, unless, of course, you did give money to Chronicles of Illyria outside of a Kickstarter type of terms of service. Ubisoft this week is going to do a Ubisoft Forward, actually tomorrow, Forward July 12th for all Ubisoft stuff. And then this was covered on other shows before, but Fallout is getting a TV show on Amazon Prime. All right, so that was the daily quest. Okay, so let's talk about New World delaying to 2021. Now, a lot of folks who watch our shows have seen us say, kind things, but also honest things. If you've been watching a whole New World on Jafar or a Bad Guy from Aladdin channel, you also know you've heard us say these things. So I know that Solomon's been anxiously waiting for New World. Maybe not as much as us, but what was your thoughts on it? So what was your think about this whole thing that all of a sudden, was it sudden for you, or is like, okay, good thing, or I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's just lukewarm. That's not the best way I could describe it. I mean, I wasn't like shocked, but I wasn't really surprised either. But then I wasn't really disappointed either at the same time. We have a lot of good games coming out this year. Later this year, particularly, we got Cyberpunk 2077. Again, we got Shadowlands and a bunch of other titles. And for them to move it to next year in spring, I don't mind that. It helps me kind of spread things out in terms of the games that I actually do want to play and the games that I actually playing right now. So in terms of content, yeah, maybe it's kind of a bummer because have sooner the better is kind of the ideal situation when you're trying to make YouTube videos or even just Twitch streams about a particular game that's very new, and it still has its shine. But in the overall scheme of things, in a bigger picture, like, I don't care one way or another. But I'm actually kind of glad. I'm leaning more towards glad that they're delaying it again. And plus, this is the type of a strategy that a lot of companies that people either loved or used to love, such as Blizzard or CD Projekt Red, would emphasize. It's not. We're not going to release anything that's not ready, and too bad for you guys. And people would applaud. People applaud that. So I don't know. I don't know if Amazon's trying to do the same thing. But maybe they got it too arrogant. But at the same time, on a side story, they had the word that people are using is unreleased, because they tried to release their own sort of PvE battle royale.
The Crucible.
Yeah, the Crucible.
Yeah.
And that's, as far as I can tell, that's their first game that they're putting forth. Like, they're going to release, or released but then not released, if there's such a thing. So it's not a good look, unfortunately, because even if you have different people working on two different projects, it's still under the umbrella of the same studio, from what I could tell. And it's not a good look. I'm hoping that they'll learn from, maybe they're learning from their mistakes. Maybe they're like, oh crap, we rushed this, we effed up, we can't put this out. And the New World is looking the same way as the Crucible did, so let's delay it. Who cares?
That's a very good point. I forgot about the Crucible. I saw the latest Young Ye video about Crucible and how it started off with high expectations, just kind of sank like a rock, and then now it's like back in beta again.
Yeah.
Like, what? And so it makes you think. Now, my theory also before we got on stream was the fact that they announced this yesterday, and last Wednesday was the Blizzard announcement that we're doing beta next week and launching it in the fall. And then, I'm hoping that these guys are also fans of MMOs. It should be. They're watching that going, oh. Hey, let's just go ahead and we'll delay ours till 2021. As Jazio pointed out earlier, that's probably when you're going to see more of a die down in Blizzard and WoW. And so people will be available and ready for this, because a lot of us have been seeing all the prep stuff for Shadowlands. It's been pretty good. So that's why we're kind of excited. So anyway, Sir Jazio, what are your thoughts about this whole let's delay to next year? COVID be damned. I don't know.
I really wish that I was a fly on the wall and could see. It would be really interesting to see if this was more of a deliberate, they planning kind of thing, where they did see that and went, oh, or if it was completely an unintentional good move. As I was saying earlier to you guys before we started the show, I think it's probably an unintentional, fantastic movie that's going to work out good for them. I still am optimistic about the game. Them postponing it actually makes me a little bit more, believe it or not, which is not a popular thought right now. As I was reading over the forums, a lot of people, it seems like it's about a 50-50. 50% of the people are like, hey, this is great, let them work on it some more. We're going to get an even better game when it comes out. Besides, I had a whole bunch of games coming out by Q4 of this year, and I didn't know how much time I was going to have to devote to it. Now it's far enough out that maybe I'll be done with those games, or bored with them, or ready to do something else by the time it's released and we can get into a more complete game. I for sure know that they've been listening to us, not just us three here, but everyone that's been in alpha, and they've heard a lot of us saying, hey, there's a really good foundation, there's a great skeleton here for this game, but there's just not a whole lot of muscle on it yet. There's not a whole lot of, and there's definitely no skin on it yet. It's just kind of a skeleton with a little bit of muscle on it. It definitely didn't have enough content to satisfy the PvEers for sure. For sure, there's a huge shortage of stuff for us to do, because they just recently changed it. in favor of doing more PvE content, but initially it was supposed to be extremely heavy on the PvP end, and they kind of backed away from that and rethought it and thought, well, you know what, let's try to appeal to a wider audience, for better or for worse. And again, you'll get a 50-50 split on that. Through playing alpha, I've been saying it for months now that I just felt like it's got a great foundation, but there's just not a whole lot there.
Yeah. Well, that's what
I
AGS said a lot about the alpha responses is part of another reason why it drove them into delaying the
yeah,
game until May of next year.
but I whether it's unintentionally or this was an orchestrated thing, I don't know. I'd like to give them credit and say it was orchestrated. They got together and said, "Oh, guys, there's too much cool stuff coming out in quarter 4. We need to we need to push this away." The analogy that I gave to these two lovely gentlemen, well, they're next to me on my screen. I don't know where they are on. Let me look where Ken's screen. Okay, they're below me on Ken's stream. The the analogy that I gave is it's like you've got the summer blockbuster coming out. Okay, everybody knows World of Warcraft is the king of MMOs. None of us can deny that, even if it's not our favorite game. It sure is the favorite game for millions of people out there. And they've got this expansion coming out that it looks like most people are fairly excited about. Well, if you've got this blockbuster coming out, this blockbuster movie coming out in July, it's got Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it, and or whoever's popular this year. I don't know. I guess he's still in favor, right?
Is
You don't want to be like an indie filmmaker, which I'm gonna say Amazon Game Studios. They've only released one other game, and it flopped pretty hard onto its face, unfortunately. You don't want to be an indie filmmaker going against Dwayne the Rock Johnson, some big, disaster movie blockbuster with $150 million spent or whatever, and that's not even that much anymore, is it, for a film? I should
more
have
than
said,
that,
yeah, it's way more than that. But I'm thinking back in the '90s, guys. Anyway, you don't want to be the indie filmmaker going against
right.
that movie during that weekend, and that is what was going to happen. They were going to be going against World of Warcraft. They were going to be going against the next DLC for ESO. There's content coming out, I believe, for Final Fantasy 14. So it's
Destiny
like,
2. Yeah.
and Destiny 2's got a big thing coming out. So it's like they're really coming out of the gates as a indie. I know it's Amazon, guys. I know they're huge, but come on, this is their first go around. If you don't count Crucible, which I'm not, because this is MMO. You don't want to be coming out against the big boys.
Yeah.
You just don't. Now by May, most of us that went and played through Shadowlands and Destiny 2 and all those other games that we're going to be doing during Christmas time and the beginning of the year, we're going to be ready to, play something else by May.
Right.
Or at least we will. I know I will for sure. And so I think that's perfect. And if they, at the same time, were working behind the scenes, putting new content, really trying to drive home that uniqueness, that give us that special something, and they're able to deliver it in May, I'm totally willing to wait. And I am not going to cancel my pre-order. I'm still going to get the still book. I still want that art book, and I'm still going to support them. I think this was a good move all around.
All right. So, which, by the way, Chris, segues to our next thing about Shadowlands. The big king on the hill. What before we do that though, the Greymore. I was thinking about the fact that May was the original release for New World, and the only thing they were running up across was Greymore from ESO. So otherwise, yeah, it was a pretty quiet time when it comes to all the big games. So anyway, Shadowlands made their big, huge 1 hour thing on the web, and like I said on their show, totally underwhelmed. You had Yeah, I was like, don't they know how to do? Don't they know how to be excited about their game? Don't they know how to actually do a Zoom call or something? So they start off the bat with the fact that, oh yeah, here he is, they're coming out. Here is a wonderful collector's edition. You can have all these wonderful things, right? All these great, betas next week. It's releasing in the fall. They didn't give a date. They just said the fall. Okay, so it's like whatever. What I thought was most interesting about this is the fact that I've been hearing a lot of hype. Of course, Got Fuzz, Sir Jazio have been helping that hype a little bit. And seeing what they're doing, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty excited about what Blizzard's going to do with Shadowlands. And then I watched that 1 hour video. I'm like, I am totally not getting this game. It sounds so boring, bro. One of the Covenant benefits, if I got it right, is you can host a party. You can be a party planner. Like, I guess if that's what you wanna do. So, I don't know. Tadrazio, I know you're a big WoW person, and we were on that show with God Fuzz the other night. So, I don't know. What's your thoughts about the upcoming Shadowlands now that they did this other 1 hour video?
The 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 1 hour video was completely uninspired. Uh, I am of the belief that they really needed a devoted PR person that is able to sell the game better to us. Because
Yep.
love or hate, Ian has cost us. It doesn't really matter. He's just really bland, and he's not selling the game to us real well.
Nope.
He
Did
he he, he, he is completely unexciting. So I think that was part of the issue because there were some nuggets of information in there that I think if it was someone that you could tell was really into it and or at least a good actress or actor that could fake it, um, it might have came across more as, oh wow, that's actually kind of cool. Um, but the way that it came across with him speaking, it was just kind of like you were listening to Ferris Bueller's Teacher, and
Oh,
at
yeah.
least at least Ferris Bueller's Teacher looked at you in the eye,
Yep.
which neither of those guys, the one that introduced him or Ian, during the entire hour-long show, he was looking down below the camera,
Several times, but yeah,
and
mostly just
I, that's just not good communication. So he needs to either work on that himself, maybe take some speech classes, or they need to find someone. But the way that they lay people off at that company the last few years, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to hire someone for that. Um, as far as the information that we got, it really was just regurgitating
It
information that we
was.
already had. Like I said, there were a few little new things in there if you were really paying attention and didn't fall asleep. I think I nodded off twice, honestly.
Wow.
Um, Not as well as I do with the Bob Ross video, but got there close. uh, the whole party thing, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to do something new, and I get it, but like Godfuzz was saying, it felt very The Sims 4 to me, or any of the Sims
Right.
games, and that's not something I'm interested in. None, none of the new little tweaks that they're doing to the game feel that new to me. What they really felt like is that they understand that the majority of us, Gottfuzz actually mentioned that he didn't like Legion, which I wanted to throw something at him, but because I loved Legion,
Well,
but he's
yeah,
entitled to his opinion.
that's right.
Um, I thought Legion was fantastic, and I didn't hate BFA, but it was pretty low. It was down in the red for sure, and I can see a lot of the systems that they're building on and tweaking. What they're doing is making it more like Legion. They're kind of rolling things back from where they went into BFA because they see that, oops, we made a mistake. People don't like the changes we made, but they did like this. So let's go back to that. it's just like all the like buffs and things that they're adding back to the characters that they had pruned years ago. They realized people like to have options. People liked buffing each other, and they liked having all these extra things to give them, your own class identity and be able to kind of have more to build on to play like you want to. So I'm definitely not. It did not make me excited for Shadowlands, and it didn't really because
Yep.
of the delivery and the fact that I was like, okay, they're just rolling it back to Legion. They're rolling that back to Cataclysm. I could see where they were getting these ideas from. Uh, it it just kind of left me feeling exactly like I did the day before, which was I'm going to get it, but I really think I'm just going to play through the story with friends, with you guys, and go back to ESO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's got me about also is having not played the game for a while, um, and I barely played BFA or Legions. I got the expansion, but didn't play it much. And
Mhm.
before that, I think I stopped playing it after. I didn't do Warriors. Drain was it? No, was it? No, Drain. I forget. Anyways, I thought like, oh, they're adding all these different things, like kind of like kind of new stuff to a new game and whatever. Okay, so but apparently I didn't realize some of the stuff's rolling back to Legion. So Solomon, what were your thoughts about the whole latest from Blizzard and their wonderful, presentation?
Ditto, Sir Jaziel. No, I didn't see it. I didn't watch it. I didn't care for it, to be honest with
Okay.
you. So,
I mean, it was on
Uh,
Wowhead, yet you could read the notes, but yeah.
oh
yeah.
no, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
still play it. I'll still get it just because it's the top dog. I mean, as a content creator, you kind of have to. But
Mm.
it's like, yeah, again, I'm kind of lukewarm about it too. I'm not like excited about it, but I'm not like hating on it. It's just is what it is.
I
You
I
mean,
think this is the
yeah.
first time that I have not been excited for an expansion for World of Warcraft.
I was more excited back when they were teasing all the different things coming out along the way.
Mm.
This video whew, just wiped out all my excitement for it. I'm like, okay, this is the game. I don't want to do this. That's
Wow.
why I asked the question to Godfather Drazio, would you have a choice between WoW or New World? They picked WoW. I
I did.
picked New World
Mm.
because I'm like, no, this is not exciting me about it, but I will play it with friends. All right, we're going to move on off of that to ESO. So I'm going to get not in deep dive of this because I noticed that our daily quests have really done a number on us. Very, very treacherous. We've died several times. Thank goodness we had some resers in the party. But now we're going to go on to delivery quests. We're going to play into it because I see that Sir Jaziel in some of his delivery quests is going to talk about ESO a little bit too. So we're going to get into that. So Jaziel, take it away. What are you going to deliver to us today?
Well, mainly that I know that it's been talked about a lot, especially when I've on my own streams on my channel. A lot of people have been coming in and asking about PvP and ESO because I've been mainly streaming that compared to the other games. And there's been some pretty well known issues with both Guild Wars 2 and ESO, especially with input lag and just overall your characters being just unresponsive enough that can make it a very excruciatingly horrible experience at times, and at other times not so bad, but bad enough that it's not a smooth, fun experience like it used to be and like it should be. And the good news is both of those games, Guild Wars 2 and ESO, are both going back to the drawing boards, and they're really going to be putting a lot of effort in the last half of this year to make those experiences better for all of us. They're kind of tackling them differently. ESO is more about going in and kind of tweaking coding and whatnot, and not really putting any limitations immediately. Guild Wars 2 however, decided that they're going to lower the amount of people that can be in the PvP areas together at the same time to alleviate the issues immediately, while still going in and, in the meantime, working on that code and trying to make it better to where they can increase the numbers back up to where they were previously and not have those issues. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not a big PvPer. Everybody knows I'm doing 100% PvE content on my stream right now for Elder Scrolls Online, and then I do plan on going and messing around with PvP after that. But I have gone in and tried PvP on both of those, and yeah, there's some issues that make it not fun. And that's just for me as someone that was going in casually, and I can completely see what the issue was, which is why I went into Cyrodiil and why I was doing PvP and Guild Wars 2, is because I kept hearing how bad it was, and I was like, well, is it really that bad? So I went and tried it for myself, and as a complete casual PvPer, if I'm having a bad experience, I know that you guys and gals that you do PvP full time, I am praying for you. I'm sorry, but hey, we've got good news. They both those games are going to be working on it, and I know words are a dime a dozen, and actions speak louder than words, and performance speaks just as loud. So we'll see. And ESO's been working on even just the overall game, trying to improve performance on both PvE and PvP. And they have an update 27, which, did they give a date on that? I don't think they gave a date on that
I didn't
yet.
see a date.
Here today.
Yeah, but when
But
that
pretty
comes
soon,
out,
he said.
there's supposed to be some further updates. They've been doing it for let's use the bunny ears, or the soon trademark. They are supposed to be releasing some more tweaks to kind of make things better, and man, I am really looking forward to that. The last batch kind of had some issues, and they had to go back in and reverse some stuff, and then they went back in and repatched it correctly. So I think there was about a week there after the last patch that was kind of awful, especially in the new area. It could get really rough. But
I remember we chatted about before where ESO had mentioned about doing performance improvements, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Because it sounded really like the things they need to do and just do it, period. The Stonethorne DLC with number 27 is supposed to be coming soon. And Darkstorm DLC will be later this year. This is for ESO. I've done the end game, so to speak, the PvP in ASO. Didn't quite ever do that in Guild Wars 2. I've always enjoyed doing those things, especially when it's started to Camelot RBR. One of the reasons why I got excited about ESO when I first saw it. And then also why I'm excited about New World, so I want to try that too. But yeah. All right. Anything else you have for you to your delivery quest?
No.
All right, Solomon, what's your delivery quest? You delivering us today?
Not much. I mean, yeah, ditto. Let's see.
Delivering the dittos each week.
Well, yeah. I mean, I only did one episode this week. It was kind of slow. We had some big newses from the MMO world, but we already covered them as from before. So I mean, Pagan Online went offline. I don't know if anyone really played that. I haven't. Nah, actually, never even really played that game.
Nope.
Admittedly, the one MMO that I'm looking forward to that's not Star Citizen, that I'm actually looking forward to more than even the New World, is actually Dual Universe, and they're starting their beta this August 27th, or 6th or something like that. Okay. Yeah, so they're doing something a little weird though. Like, you could actually buy the Founders Packs. I don't know what they call them, and they have the cheapest one is $60. But if you don't want to pay for that for whatever reason, you could actually pay a monthly fee for their beta access. cheapest one, I put that in quotes, would be their 12-month plan, which you would pay about just under $70, which comes about to just over $5. But I mean, if you're gonna fork over that much money, just might as well just buy the founders package, which they actually are going to stop selling pretty soon. They just tell us when. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's probably the game that I'm looking forward to the most. That I think it's probably worth mentioning. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty slow.
So beta is August for that. Okay.
Yeah, end of August. At least I know I know that much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's August 27th, but I'm not sure.
That's one of the games I kickstarted, and I think I did the one where I get access to beta, not alpha.
Well, you actually kickstarted Dual Universe too?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Like I said, I kickstarted.
I can't. There's just so many.
All going to come out the same month. Okay.
Well,
I mean, Camelot. I didn't mention it, but Camelot Unchained had their next 90-day thing. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So still no dates yet. You know, Crowfall says technically we're in beta. I have access to that for a long time now, so my Kickstarter there. But I'm waiting for a more polished game. See the Titans, Krog's Illyria, which I don't care about the class action lawsuit because I knew I was getting into. I think if you're going to get money from them, I mean that's going to be terrible for them personally. And the lawyers get 35% anyways. Dual Universe is one of the ones I did, also with Ash's Creation, and yeah. So
I'm hoping we can opt out of the Chronicles of Illyria lawsuit. I really don't.
You can. You always can in class action.
I don't really want my money back. The fact that they, as you said earlier, the fact that we knew when you kickstart something, there's always that potential it's not going to happen. I've actually not only done that with video games, I've done that with records that were supposed to be put out by bands that I listened to that broke up before they even got to the recording studio, and boom, that money's gone. It's a risk that you take. I feel bad for the people that invested a whole lot of money. Luckily, I didn't invest a lot. But the thing is, they're still working on it.
Yep.
It's under the table and on the side, but they're still working on it. And I don't want my money back. I don't want to give 33% of whatever I was going to get back to a lawyer either. I don't want to go on the whole lawyers or snakes thing, but I want to see the game come out. And if this lawsuit, if they win this lawsuit, it's probably going to kill the project completely.
Yep, it will.
Yeah.
Solomon, anything else? Any other deliveries you got?
No, that's about it.
You need to keep us updated on Blue Protocol and what that's happening with that game. Okay?
There hasn't really been any news. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to. They did their last beta like a week or two ago, and it's supposed to be released by the end of this year.
All right. So, sorry, you're gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm really looking forward to Blue Protocol.
Yeah, it should be good.
It'll be different.
Yeah.
All right, you guys they delivered their stuff. Now we're going to storyline quest. This is not going to be about lore. What lore? So this is going to be about I talk about delays are good? Question mark. We talked about touch a little bit, okay? And you've also heard us say it before in the past and we said it before on the first episode of A Whole New World with Jafar, which myself, Sir Jazio, we also had Shaylis and Grid on. And we had a community manager as well as a dev in there. And we literally said, we as gamers are okay with being patient and waiting for the game to be good and not bad. Mind you, this is like earlier this year because we also had the Warcraft 3 debacle. We've also a lot of some experience, BioWare's Anthem. We've also experienced like Mass Effect Andromeda. I mean, just games that we know that we wanted to love. And they were not good. Fallout 76 games that really should have been postponed. The thing that we heard about, I mean, you heard Jazio say it before on other podcasts, where the fact that, Blizzard was an example of a game company that used to just delay things to get it good. EVE Online's, the CCP was known for that, even though they sold I think they're mostly owned by Tencent now, if I think about it.
Pretty much.
But I mean, I don't know. Well, Solomon, delays, are they good? Is this this kind of thing you want to see as a gamer?
I think it depends on how old I am. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't mean that as a jab, but
No, I understand.
the yes, but at the same time, like I'm always playing devil's advocate, right? And sometimes it takes a little, it could go a little too far. And I'm gonna mention the game I mentioned earlier, which is Star Citizen. I mean, that game's been in development for like almost a decade now, and I remember reading a post, I think it was from massivelyop.com or MMORPG.com, like one of the comments said, like, I'm so sick of all the delays, like I'm in my 60s and I have all these medical conditions, and I'm probably going to be dead by the time this game comes out. And
Yep.
I felt very sad for him,
Yep.
you know, because he's obviously somebody who is a backer, but at the same time, like, again, as you know, he doesn't have that much time left, and yet he wants to play this game, but he can't because he's running out of time. And so yeah, I think it could be a good or bad thing. I think generally it's a good thing, but it can be a bad thing, as the anecdotal evidence that I just said. So overall, like, yeah, like overall, I think it's a good thing, but there's still some caveats to it.
Yeah, one, I mean, because I do Kickstarter stuff, I've been sitting on, I'm looking at my Kickstarter right now, Camelot Unchained, December 2015. Sea of Titans, November 2015. Crowfall, December 2016. Dual Universe, December 2018. Chronicles of Illyria, December 2017. Ashes of Creation, December 2018. You're sitting here going, yeah, when are they going to finally come out? The money invested, waiting for this to happen. I know it's not a simple, easy process. I know it takes some time, and we want it done right. But like you said, I hadn't thought about the fact that, I mean, I know that you reminded me of the fact that when they made Episode 7, Star Wars: A Force Awakens, there was, they got one or two people who were like on deathbed. They really wanted to watch it before
Oh,
it came
right,
out.
that's right.
And then, JJ made it happen so they could go watch a showing of it prior to release because they would be dead. People, you want to be able to get people the opportunity to play this game. Now, mind you, this guy, hopefully he's playing the beta or he's been playing the game outside of the full release of Star Citizen. But that's a good point. Timing can be an issue with regards to, like, also your attention is changed. A lot of us who've grown up, well, okay, I was already an adult when but I know a lot of people who I know were playing MMOs when they were in, high school or college. They had all this time, tons of. Then they got a job, they got married, they had kids,
Right,
and their time dropped. So that's why they're the ones you hear about who are longtime gamers, but really want easy access, easy entry, and just be able to play the game really fast, not deep
right.
dive it. That's a good point. All right. So, Raziel, what was your thoughts about delay?
Again, I appreciate a development team that knows when they're not going to have a completed or a working game in time. I actually prefer it the way that Blizzard used to do it, and apparently they're doing it with Shadowlands because, as like you said earlier, they have not put out a release date yet, and it's kind of late into the. I mean, I know they're just going into beta after
Right.
this weekend, but I guess Tuesday, right? I'm assuming. So by this point, you would think that they would have one, and they haven't. So maybe they're going back to that. Hey, you'll get it when it's ready. We're not going to put it out and have an unfinished game, a broken game, and have all these issues that are going to cause people to unsub immediately and leave. So I am all for that. I do want to say, because you were just going through your list, and I started. I don't know if you guys saw that Get Bright over here where my other monitor is. I went to go open mine up to see when I gave money to all those games. Half of them you already mentioned. I think I am also a person that gave to those games, and some others, as well as some albums. But I'm kind of scared to look at the dates when I give them money because there are several that are more than 5-6 years ago. I think there is a point where, as a development team, you need to say, this just isn't going to happen. We need to give these people back their money. there's several ideas here. I don't
Yeah.
want to keep us here for. I know we like to keep this to an hour, so and I could go on for like a full hour about this topic. So maybe some other time, or maybe I'll just do it on my stream. The one thing is how fast technology moves now, and
yeah.
how quickly that we have new engines come into play that they're like, I'd rather use that. That's way easier to build a game on than this 6, maybe even, like you said, some of them 10 years ago. Dude, those old engines from 10 years ago, you can do so much more on the new stuff. But to do that, you're going to have to completely start over. So I
Yeah.
think there is a point where you need to go, oh, we're like, it's time to maybe get rid of that iPhone 6 and bump it up to the new one. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with engines and everything, and even just development tools in general. I won't go through all the different tools that MMO teams use, but those are updated sometimes every 6 months, if not at least every year. And by the time that you get past that 2 or 3 year point, I think it's time to say this isn't going to happen. Now, I know that there are people that will disagree and say, hey, I can name you 10 games right now that took 10 years to make and they're awesome. And I know that, EverQuest supposedly took about that 8 to 10 years. When it initially came out, World of Warcraft had been being worked on since 2000 or 99, somewhere around there, and didn't come out till 2004. So and look how big that is. So I don't know, man. I would like to see limits put in there. Maybe 5 years. But I also I do feel for those people who are elderly or disabled or have a terminal illness. I feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want to play a game that's unfinished,
Yeah.
that's broken, that's not,
Yep.
you're going to be disappointed by it? And I'd rather not. I'd rather just find something else awesome to play with my friends. And there's so many games out there
And they
that
keep
are
coming out. New stuff you never heard about. Yep.
right. There's so many great games out there right now. I mean, not to drag the stream down, but technically I have a terminal illness right now. I don't know when it's going to, get off this plateau and start spiraling down again. I've had 2 instances where that's happened, and it could happen again. It's just all whatever God's will is, and I follow
Right.
God. But I don't want Amazon Game Studios to go, oh, okay, buddy, we're gonna put it out right now, knowing that it's not a complete game and I'm
Right.
not going to enjoy it.
Right. Yep.
So, like I said, I don't want to go on and on and on and on and on about it. I could, but those are just some of the thoughts in
Right.
my head about it. That it would be nice to have some kind of limits and somewhere where they put it on the roadmap. Hey, if we're not done by this point, maybe we should move on to something else, or give refunds, whatever.
Yeah, you mentioned engine. Cityscape
Yeah.
Entertainment, which is Mark Jacobs, they're doing Camelot Unchained. They did that. They
Right.
realized that the game they wanted and the engine they were using wasn't going to do it, so they created their own engine.
It's true. I
Which
didn't think
did
about that.
delay things, and but they also put money into it. He personally put money into it. He also
Hmm.
got investors put money into it. So it's not just Kickstarter, other stuff too. And they actually did have a game more recently, or it hasn't been released yet, but there's a game they talked about using the engine and got people upset because like, wait a minute, where's our game? It's like, well, this is the game that gets you to your game because if we don't release this game off the engine, we're not going to show our investors, and it all
Hmm.
turns off anyway. So it's one of those things like I know Crowfall has just been in development. They've been working stuff through, and they've had their setbacks. You guys
Hmm.
are industry experts. They know what they're doing. They're veterans. You
Right.
mentioned World of Warcraft, but I don't know how. I mean, I wasn't following a lot back then. This is the early days. I mean, internet wasn't really there yet. There wasn't a lot of resources for people to get stuff.
True.
I remember hearing about it through other people playing Dark Age of Camelot. People talking about World of Warcraft. I knew of World of Warcraft. I mean Warcraft because of the game Blizzard, not the World of
Right.
Warcraft. Everyone, I remember biggest thing I remember a lot of people like, yeah, they have dancing. It's like you can go /dance. I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care less about the dancing, but they were excited about it. And when it did launch, a lot of folks went there. So I mean, it's one of the things where it's like, yes, you want it to be released now. Yes, you want to play it now. No, you don't want to play it now. It's gonna be terrible. I might be dead in a year when it comes out. So
It,
there's a lot of things there.
you did hit on something that is absolutely true. We hear because this is is this still the information age, or have we moved on from that? Actually, now that I
What?
say it, this is the information age, right? And we hear about stuff
Yep.
way before we would have back then. And what you just said about, back then in the early 2000s, late 90s, we didn't have all these websites and we didn't have Solomon doing, daily or well, it was daily. Now it's every other day kind of thing. But, we didn't have YouTube back then.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, there was a time before YouTube, guys.
Yep. There was.
Ken and I remember it. We didn't have all these MMO websites and things that were giving us this information years before it was going to be released. We would hear about a game coming out, and it was like 6 months at the most, and then it would be released. And now we're hearing about these games. It seems like almost when the developers just get the idea and write it down on a napkin and
Yeah.
Denny's. It's
Yep.
like, hey, I got this idea for Star Trek MMO, and it's like all of a sudden it's on all these websites. Hey, there's a Star Trek MMO coming out, and then 10 years later you finally get it. It didn't used to be like that. It used to be you wouldn't hear about it till it was in beta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lana Thrasher says, I'm going to have great grandkids by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. Yes, possible.
Well, we're still a couple of years off from Elder Scrolls 6, I think.
Yep.
Because again, I think they made that announcement, even that little trailer. That was really early. In fact, I had heard they hadn't even done storyboarding yet when they did that trailer. So it's going to be a while, guys.
Yeah, they had to tell something just to let people know. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have a lot. We don't have any class quests or any escort quests. We have a lot of the dailies that consumed our time. We were going to do some world events. We're going to have to revamp that, considering the fact that New World is postponed. So we're not going to have our New World launch party
Yeah.
in August.
Dang it.
So we're going to have to figure it out. We're going to do something else. We probably will have a WoW Shadowlands launch party once we know what it is. That's the sad thing. So, and not to mention which other games. So now that we have our plate emptied, you might say, because I know next month, July, or this month, July was supposed to be the beta for New World. It's been postponed too.
Mhm.
And so therefore we have some free time. Okay, so we got to figure out what we're going to do, what it's going to be. So hang on, stay tuned. We'll let you know about any world events we're going to have. Okay, so look up Core Punk, scheduled to be released at the end of the year. Core Punk. I think Solomon knows this one, don't you?
Yeah, it's the isometric MMORPG, cyberpunk
It's
MMORPG.
isometric. You won't
Yeah.
like it.
Oh, tap down. It's like the Diablo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenneth
Yeah,
doesn't like the type of game, guys.
I played Diablo 3. I'm willing to try things, but yeah, right. So yeah, so we stay tuned for some world events. We'll have them. We had one in May for Greymore, ESO Greymore. Yeah, so well, it's kind of changed now. So thanks a lot, Amazon Game Studio, on both levels. It's a high and a low. Okay, Outriders is basically Destiny, but not Destiny.
I'm actually excited about that game. I like
It looks kind of cool.
I like the aesthetics.
down.
They kind of have that Gears of War aesthetics because
Yep.
the studio worked on Gears of War Judgment, if I recall correctly. But even though that game came out like years ago, they still retain, I guess, some of the style in this from the studio in terms of making the vehicles.
This one, Square Enix. Okay.
Yeah. That's the surprising thing. Square Enix is the one publishing
Yeah, I know. When's this coming out?
I don't think there's a release date yet.
I don't. Okay,
but
is it an RP? It's not MMO. Is it just more of a game to play?
yeah, it's more or less going to be Destiny 2.
Like I said, yeah, that's what you said. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I'm more excited about this one is because I haven't really played a looter shooter. Like, I dabbled in a few, but I haven't really gotten into any. Like, I never played Destiny. I mean, I can't.
Destiny 2.
Didn't really play Destiny 2. Didn't really play any of the Division series. Didn't even attempt to play Anthem. I mean, what other looter shooters are out there? So. Yeah, this one I hope is the one that I pick up and start really playing because
20. Yeah, it says it's a 1 to 3 player drop in, drop out co-op shooter set in original, dark, and desperate sci-fi universe. All right, we'll put that on our list then. Well, we'll check those two out. Good to have that on our list. I mean, now I see the picture. I recommend Outriders. I think Square Enix announced it, so it's like, okay. All right. I'm ready for New World. Well, yeah, we are too, but it's now next year. So New World is next year. Anyway, so we're done. Now we're going to be going AFK. Some of us probably go fishing, but we're still doing video fishing. But where can we find you? And what MMOs are you playing, Solomon, these days?
No, it's the same old. Nothing's really changed. Not until like Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. I know that's not an MMO, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. And again, other than the games that we already mentioned, things aren't really going to be changing in, a whole lot until then. So yeah, again, you can find me at Coffee and RPGs on YouTube. That's primarily my content outlet for the time being. Well, for a while at least, but I still double here at Twitch, as you could see. And yeah.
All right, because you also can see him come to my stream and go choo choo.
That's true.
Okay. So Austin was saying that he wants AGS to be successful because they're also making the Lord of the Rings MMORPG. You're right. Except we chatted about that several months ago about something that really bothered us. I forget what it was about Lord of the Rings. Anyways, all right. Jaziel. You still playing ESO?
I'm still playing Elder Scrolls Online. And it looks like I'm going to continue down that same path. I was really looking forward to beta for New World because I was going to be able to actually stream it.
Yeah.
Which was going to allow me to play it more because while I'm streaming, I wasn't allowed to, well, for a long time, months there, I wasn't even allowed to say I was in the alpha. So I definitely could not share it with anyone. But that's gone now, it looks like. So
our schedules get changed.
You know what? It's going to be okay because we have 2 DLCs coming out through the rest of this year for Elder Scrolls Online, dealing with the Grimoire chapter. So there's going to be plenty to do in there. I really haven't been playing too much else other than Killing Floor 2 because it went free, and the Epic launcher was one of the free games this week, and I've been wanting to play that for a few years, and especially since such a soundtrack is mostly Christian metalcore and deathcore bands on there. I was really happy about that. There's Demon Hunter and Living Sacrifice and some other guys on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've been just dabbling with that the past 2 or 3 days. But other than that, you can find me, on Twitch and Twitter at SirJaziel, one word. And that's probably about it for me.
All right. I've been playing ESO. I've also been playing Destiny 2. I've also been doing, well, when I can, with my friend Not Fred, Champions Online, MMO World, but I'm also Trains and Frostpunk. So I play a lot of games. I enjoy a lot of games. I always argue the fact that I have too many games, not enough time. Apparently, Solomon, your volume's lower than everybody else's, but we can work on that some other time. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining us for this. We try to do this every week. So we love having you here. We enjoy these games and we talk about them. We enjoy giving our opinions. So there you are. So join us next time for another episode of the Trinity MMO Show.